Okay, so we are going to work on manipulating shape and the basics of maneuvering and using the Tinkercad software. One of the most important things to note is that some features are available for a specific shape, and then more features will be available when you are having multiple shapes on your work plane. You should note now that there is a split screen and you are seeing my keyboard and my mouse. You should be having access to both when you use Tinkercad for ease of use and eventually your own sanity. You will also note that this is a Mac keyboard with the command button. Every time I use the command feature, you will also want to imagine yourself using a control button. So instead of going like that, you'd be going like this. And they're completely interchangeable between command and control. So don't overthink it. It's cross-compatible, and I believe you guys will all be quick studies. All right. So you will notice that my hand is doing nothing right now, and just the mouse is able to maneuver around there. This is clicking on the right click, holding it down, and just gliding around the surface. As I mentioned earlier, this is why I never end up using this box over in the left-hand corner, because there's really no need. It's a skill I picked up doing 3D design, and since Tinkercad is made by Autodesk, who makes Maya, which is an industry standard software, that's why it carries over to this software as well. If you feel more comfortable using the box, that's okay as well, and you want to use the scroll as well. The reason why we use the mouse instead of the touchpad, this is still available. You can still do the same things. This is 2-finger push and pull, which is the same as your scroll wheel. The reason we don't do that is for dexterity. Not everyone has consistent use of touchscreen technology and touchpad technology, and a mouse is a piece of technology that still works just great. So I'm going to recenter it back like so. If you ever get off center, you're going to press Shift, Option, or Alt, Shift Alt on a PC, and right click and drag over. Don't worry if you're not getting familiar with this. There's also the home button. No matter where you end up, even if you end up out of shape, it'll bring you right back to the center as well. And that hopefully should cover you being able to view and your material. So now we're going to move our shape. You notice that, let me zoom in a little bit more. You can also notice there's a little bit of a blue halo around your shape, and that shows you that you have this shape selected. Click off, it goes away, as well as your box in the corner. And then if you click back on it again, there's your blue halo, and there's a bunch of different parts here. You're just going to click anywhere in the shape, as long as you're not clicking one of these boxes. These are bounding boxes. We'll cover that when we start resizing the shape. So you're just going to make sure you don't click on one of these. They turn red if you're clicking on it, no matter which box you have when you're touching. And you also know that you haven't selected the wrong area, because you notice that when you click on here, these units of measure show up on the screen. If you're just clicking the shape to click the shape, nothing should show up, and that way you know how to move it. You'll also notice that there's these units of measure that are coming onto the screen, and that's the distance from where your shape last was. This can be important if you need to move a shape to a specific spot, and you can actually, once you start clicking on something, click on one of these units and then type in a specific piece of information. It is important to notice that that measurement, as with all the measurements on your plane right now, will match whatever you have in your settings. So that movement was in millimeters.